my ducks, my swans, welcome to the pond. My ducks, my swans, welcome to the pond and to the podcast, 82 Points of View with Dorian. This is episode 14. So if you listen to this, hopefully you listened to our episode last week where I had a chance to interview my homeboy, Chris Wilkes. Love that dude, man. For those of you that haven't had a chance to listen to it, I highly suggest you go back and listen to that episode. The episode's going to give you a lot of insight into me as a coach. As you could tell during the episode, I was mad excited because I got a chance to actually interview somebody that I know, somebody that I care about, but actually I wanted people to hear his story. So if you're into college basketball, you're into sports, you're into coaching, that is an absolutely fantastic episode that you need to go listen to. So episode 13, 82 Points of View, interview my homeboy Chris Wilkes. So shout out to that. That's number one. Number two, if you are listening to this episode, it sounds a little bit different. And the reason it sounds different is because I'm rolling solo. And the reason that I'm rolling solo because I have finally moved to Houston, Texas. I said it for the longest. I said I was going to move, and I finally did. I moved to Houston, Texas because I just felt like LA just wasn't something that was going to fit well for me and my family. So I decided time to make that move. But one of the casualties of me moving to Houston, Texas was that I was no longer going to be able to do the podcast with John. And John is somebody who was our first intern. That's how we met. And he was somebody that really helped me execute the vision of Group82Music.com. Excuse me. And also helped me execute the vision of 82 Points of View with Dorian. I would have never started the podcast if it wasn't for him. He was somebody that really, really dug deep into trying to get this to happen because he consistently kept saying, hey, man, you want to do the podcast? I'm down, man. You want to do it? Wooty-woo. But I was like, man, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear that shit. But I was happy that he kept being adamant about it because we finally did it. And it was something I really enjoyed. It's been therapy for me. Obviously, y'all heard a lot in season 1 and in that season 1.5. However we released it, you heard a lot of things about me. You got a chance to know me. It's actually helped heal some of my relationships with my family, with my friends. I know a lot of you guys listen to this when you work out or when you're at work. Some of y'all work jobs where they allow you to listen to stuff for an hour, hour and a half. And the fact that y'all turn on 82 Points of View with Dorian means a lot to me. So I'm extremely happy about that. But thanks, John, man. I know we haven't talked since I left, but I appreciate you, man. I appreciate everything that you did for me and for the podcast. As you know, a lot of people worked on 82 Points of View season 1, but you were a person that stood there, and that season is ours, bro. So thank you for that. Also, as you can see, if you're watching, we're on YouTube now. I finally got the film set up correctly. I wish y'all could kind of see my setup. I'm not going to adjust this camera because I don't want to fuck up anything that I got going on. But you go to YouTube, Dorian Group 82 on YouTube if you listen to this on the audio format. And now I'm going to film every single episode because this is something that I've been wanting to do. We wanted to do it in season 1, but we hired producers that were fucked up, didn't know what the fuck they were doing, kept messing shit up. And now we're in a position where we can actually do this and I can film. So I'm going to get the video of it. Couple things as we start this new season. I don't even know what I'm gonna call it yet. I want you to kind of keep in mind. Right now, it is 4:14 a.m. on a Thursday. So when I tell y'all that I'll be up, I'll be grinding, I'll be hustling, I'm really up doing this shit. So it's 4:14 a.m. on a Thursday. So if I'm off or if shit seems kind of raggedy, it's 4:14 a.m. on a fucking Thursday. It's number one. Number two, if we get quiet real quick, you might be able to hear some sound in the background. Where we live in Houston, we're actually right by a highway. I know for some people, y'all probably like, damn, why the fuck would you move there right by a highway? Well, where I live in LA, it was actually by a highway too. And we actually find it kind of peaceful when you hear the cars passing by and stuff. It's actually a lot more soothing than you would imagine. But with that said, it's going to be some background noise. And so if you hear some zip pass or something like that, that's just the cars that's in the background. But super excited, man. Season 2, 82 Points of View with Dorian. One thing I really want to talk about in this episode, and I got to get used to talking about myself because I'm used to John being right there and I can smoke my weed and all that. But one thing I really want to talk about in this episode, man, is that people have to understand that entrepreneurship is not a fucking game. And I think a lot of people right now, there's this huge rise of entrepreneurship and what everybody wants to be financially free, right? And ain't nothing wrong with that. Like, you should want to be financially free. But when you are thinking about being financially free, I don't think you truly understand the amount of work that it takes in order to be an entrepreneur, in order to be a business owner, in order to be somebody that it's in control of all of your assets. Like, for example, this week, like, I'll be really transparent. So we moved, we're here, we're in Houston. It was during the holidays. So you had Christmas, we got family around, we was doing all types of stuff. Like, everything was going on. It was mad hectic, but I had to keep running the business. But during the time that we were moving and I was running the business, I took a break from social media. And the reason I took that break from social media is because I wanted to focus on my family. And I had been going so hard on Instagram, on Facebook, on Spotify, and just all these things I've been going so hard at for about a year. I want to take a step back coming into 2020. And so one thing that I noticed when I came back was, like, I still fucking hate social media. Like, I don't like it. I know a lot of y'all that are looking at like, well, shit, nigga, you do a podcast, you got YouTube, you got fucking LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Like, nigga, how the fuck can you hate social media? Like, I really, really do not like this shit. Like, if I didn't create content, I would not be on social media. That's just me, though. Like, I don't really like that shit. So, but because that I create content, it gives me an outlet to put out for free. But I don't like consuming content like that. Like, I just don't like social media. So that was the first thing. Second thing that I noticed is that when you aren't marketing or going hard on your business, shit drops. Shit drops. We had a great weekend, Black Friday weekend. And the amount of sales that we did in that weekend carried us for about 6 weeks straight. And when I took that break from social media, I wasn't posting no videos. I wasn't posting the business education videos I usually post, or even the videos about my lifestyle, even stuff in my stories. I wasn't doing any of that. And I saw the traffic in our website go down. I saw the engagement on all of the posts go down. And most importantly, all entrepreneurs can understand this, I saw sales go down. And it really showed me how valuable marketing and advertising is when you are an entrepreneur. On top of that, it showed me that if you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to be on this shit 24/7, man. It is not like when you go and work for somebody else. When you go and work for somebody else, you can take breaks. You can go Saturday, Sunday, have your alone time. Or even if you, let's say you stop working at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 p.m., those gaps, those hours, they start adding up where you're not doing shit. And when you work for somebody else, it's okay because the machine keeps going, right? When you're an entrepreneur, I don't care how many automated processes that you have with, like, all of our sales is automated, our emails is automated. Like, we got a lot of stuff's automated. It still takes a certain human element to make sure that everything is going okay. And when you're an entrepreneur, that's what you do full time. That's how you feed your family. That shit is not a game, man. It is not a fucking game. And I don't think a lot of y'all understand that. Not just in the music industry, but just in all industries. Like, everybody wants to be financially free. We live in this Shark Tank generation, right? Shark Tank has been this huge influence on how we perceive entrepreneurship and how we perceive being financially free and being rich. Like, we're seeing people go on Shark Tank, introduce a product. They got 15,000 in sales over the past 12 months. Mark or Kevin or Lori or Damon or Barbara or the guest shark or whoever, they invest in them. And now these people become millionaires. And we're seeing that shit. It's the lottery ticket mentality. And everybody thinks like, shit, they can do it. I can do it. Like I talked about before in season 1, we talked about the poker boom. That's the exact same reason that poker blew the fuck up. Because in 2003, Chris Moneymaker, literally, that was his last name, Moneymaker, won the World Series of Poker. So everybody that thought that there was a plumber or whatever that they could win poker, they can become a millionaire off of poker. It's the same thing with entrepreneurship. But I'm telling you, this is not a fucking lottery ticket. This is not a poker tournament. This is none of that. The only way that you're gonna get money off of being an entrepreneur is if you work the hardest you've ever worked in your fucking life. And I know some of y'all think that y'all work hard, but just because you wake up at 4 a.m., you clock in at 5 a.m., and you get off at 9 p.m., that doesn't mean you're working hard. That means that you showing up. And that's par for the course. In entrepreneurship, that's not even like, not showing up isn't even, that's like not breathing. But when you work, showing up is 60 to 70% of it. If you show up and you shut up, you'll be able to keep your job for at least 18 to 24 months before they start really evaluating and see if you bring value to the company or not. When you're an entrepreneur, if you show up and you shut up, your business is going to be like, yo, okay, what's next, nigga? Fuck you. Like, how are we going to make money? And a lot of y'all don't understand it. This shit's not school, man. It's not school. You have to figure out how to troubleshoot every goddamn day. Like every day, I got to solve problems. Every fucking day. Like right now, before we went live, right? I told y'all it's 4:14 a.m. on a Thursday. Before I went live here, I bought a new interface called a Focusrite. And anybody that works in audio engineering or music, you know, like when you swap out your interface, that's a big thing. I had an audio interface, like a mobile whatever it was called. I had that for the longest time. And the headphone jack went out. So since the headphone jack went out, you can't record shit, can't record reference tracks, you can't hear. So I had to go buy a new interface. And in the midst of me buying a new interface, I plugged it up, got everything connected, whoop. And in the background, I kept hearing this hissing noise. Not the sound that you're hearing with the cars passing, but like this. And I was like, man, what the fuck? So I'm thinking like, I got something on my computer. I'm thinking some other tracks I got on or some shit. But what it was the shit kept fucking up. The interface that I just bought kept fucking up. And for me, I was like, yo, what the fuck, yo? Like, how am I going to record reference tracks? How am I going to record a podcast? How am I going to record all this stuff that I want to do? How am I going to do it when the interface keeps fucking up? I'm not no audio engineer. I don't understand this shit. Like, bro, I barely know how to plug the fucking headphones into my goddamn computer. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand all this shit. Like, I know I make music, but that's not my brain. But I got to figure this shit out. So I immediately go to Google and I watch a bunch of YouTube videos and I go on the message boards and I start rotating knobs and all this shit. And through some magic mystery, nigga, I figured that shit out. Because as an entrepreneur, that's shit that you got to do. And I know some of y'all right now, you're like, that's a fucking weak ass example, nigga. But in entrepreneurship, that's how it is. If little things add up. Like some of y'all are watching this on YouTube right now. If you're watching this on YouTube right now and my screen just went out that I use to see if I can see what you see, another one of these problems I'm talking about. But if you can see the microphone, let me see if I can raise it. Hope it doesn't fuck nothing up. All right. If you can see the microphone, you can see like it's sitting inside of a microphone holder and it has these little black bands on there. You know what these black bands are? These are my girl's ponytail ties. Because I had bought a $300 microphone. I had a mic stand. It came with a mic holder, but it didn't have anything in there to support it. So I had to figure out how in the fuck am I going to get this microphone to stay inside of this microphone stand when I don't understand any of this shit? Because if the microphone don't stay inside the microphone stand, I can't record. I can't record reference tracks when I go to the studio. They're not going to understand what I'm trying to do. They don't understand what I'm trying to do. Now I got to pay an extra hour, 2 hours inside of the studio in order to make sure that my reference track is going to sound like the final track. That's an extra $100, $130. Because my studio was $65 an hour in LA. $130 multiplied by how many times I'm gonna go to the studio over the next 2 years, that shit starts adding up. All because I can't figure out at home how to get the microphone to stay inside the microphone stand. So what I do, I start fucking around and I figure that shit out. It took me like 20 minutes. And there's some of y'all out there right now like, nigga, that shit took you 20 minutes? I could do that shit in 3. Well, motherfucker, I'm not you. But I'm saying like, it's stuff like that as an entrepreneur, those little tiny things that people don't even think about that you have to do every single day. And that's simpleton shit that I'm talking to y'all about, like putting the mic in the microphone stand or figuring out how to get the hiss off of a record. Off of a track that you're doing on Logic or in the background of your music. But what about sales? Do you know how to write an effective copy on an ad? Do you even know what a copy is? I'm talking to y'all about copy right now. Do you even know what that is? Copy is the description, is the actual written words on an advertisement that you see on social media. I just taught somebody that. Y'all didn't even know that. Somebody is listening to this right now They have a business. They didn't even know that. Do you know how to run Facebook ads? Do you know how to run Instagram ads? Do you know how to retarget? Do you have a Facebook pixel? Do you know any of this shit that I'm talking about? Am I speaking fucking Mandarin to you right now? That's what being an entrepreneur is. You have to figure all of this shit out. And a lot of people give up because in school, we have been taught that if all I got to do is sit in the class, the teacher tells me something, I'll regurgitate that, and then I'll be okay. I'll at least get a C. If I regurgitate it at a decent level, I'll get a B. If I regurgitate it at a high level, I'll get an A. Ain't no regurgitation in entrepreneurship, man. Ain't no regurgitation in starting your business. You can look at somebody else's business model and you can see if that works for you. You can replicate things that you see. Like I steal people's ad copies all the time. Like if I'm scrolling through IG, I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see something that works and I like it, I grab it. I save that shit and I fucking steal that shit. Hell, I did that Black Friday. I'll even tell you who I did it from. The homeboy's name is Billy Jean or some shit like that. Like black dude, bald head. Kind of look like, well, that's more of a personal. You know what I mean? I would shout somebody out, but I'm a homeboy want to be shout out. But like I saw, he made me. I clicked on one of his ads. I like how that ad looked. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to steal that copy. And that shit worked. But that wasn't regurgitation. I still had to change it to fit what we were doing at Group 82 and specific for our sale. But a lot of y'all don't understand that. You have to figure shit out all the time. So for those of you out there right now that like want to start a podcast this year, you want to start a blog this year, you want to start your fashion line this year, you want to start your food truck, your restaurant this year, you want to be your personal trainer this year, you want to go get your real estate license this year, you want to be a licensed essential oil maker this year. You have to figure shit out. No one's going to hand you anything. And if you don't have the tolerance of solving problems, entrepreneurship is not for you. And that's okay. That's okay. A lot of people feel like they have to force themselves to believe in a certain thing or do a certain thing because they feel like entrepreneurship has to be for them. It's not for everybody. And ain't nothing wrong with that. Hell, the person I live with right now, I had to question if it was for her. Like that's been a source of contention. Like y'all know, like going deep into detail about my personal life, but shit, you doing podcasts by yourself. Like, what the questions do you have? And those of y'all watching, yeah, y'all know I sweat a lot, so let me wipe my face off. But like the person I live with, like that I'm in a relationship with, that I love, I had to question if entrepreneurship is for her. Like that's been a source of contention in our relationship since we've been in it. And this is somebody who has been down for me. This is somebody who has been patient with me. Somebody who has done things that I would never imagine that a woman would have the love for me to actually do. And I've been extremely patient with her, looking and waiting and hoping that entrepreneurship is for her. And the thing about it though, like there's a fine line between supporting someone's dream and supporting somebody's delusion. Let me rephrase that because I want this clip to be good. There's a fine line between supporting somebody's dream and enabling someone's delusion. To support someone's dream, you have to see skills there that you know just need to be honed, need to be cultivated, and you are going to help put them on the right path because you know that the skills are actually there, right? It's kind of like when you see a 15-year-old and he's 6'9", he's 210 pounds, he got a 40-inch vertical, right? He runs like a deer, but his handling isn't good. Like he can't dribble that well, right? His jump shot has bad mechanics, right? But you see all the tools. He just needs to be honed and cultivated, and he'll probably be able to be a professional basketball player. But you look at somebody like me, right? I'm 6'1", 6'1.5", 6'1", right? Like big as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I'm in like 260. Like I'm a big dude, and when you look at me, you're like, yo, you don't have the traditional basketball build. So no matter how much you really want it, bro, you flat-footed, like, you know what I'm saying? You got a big upper body, and your lower legs are strong too, but your arms aren't long. Like you 6'1" with a 6'1" wingspan. No matter how bad you want it, you're not going to be a professional basketball player. So anybody who would have continue to tell me at this moment in my life I'm going to be a professional basketball player, they will be enabling my delusion. As opposed to the first kid I gave an example about, you were supporting his dreams, even though the skills aren't there yet. But with entrepreneurship, it's kind of the same thing. And that's what I look at with my lady. It's like, I've seen her really get after it. Like, I've seen the skills. Like, I've seen how she designs websites from scratch. I've seen her code. I've seen how she has put events together where 30, 40 people have showed up. Like, I couldn't even do a show right now to get 30 or 40 people to show up. Like, I've seen her organize that. I've seen her when her back was against the wall, like, she just came out fucking swinging and she got that shit done. But what is the thing for her, and I've told her this, and that's why I'm open talking about on air, the thing for her is about being consistent, right? She just has to consistently do it. So I'm supporting her dreams. But at one time, I thought I was enabling her delusion. Because when you are in a serious relationship and y'all live together, you share finances together. And now we have our daughter. We have Nova. And so when you look at all of that, it's like something got to give. When are you going to break through? But when you truly love somebody, man, you take them in for the good and the bad. And she's taking me in for my bad. I mean, she has really taken me in for my bad. And so me abandoning her, me not supporting her, me, like, even though I'm hard on her sometimes and I'm challenging her and I'm helping her and I might speak to her in a direct way where it might hurt her feelings, but at the time I know that I'm trying to really, at the time there's no malintent behind it. There's never any malintent, but she, even though it hurts her feelings, she knows it's coming from a place of love because I want what's best for her. And she's taking in all my bad. Like, who am I to be like, fuck that, I'm giving up. I mean, this is a woman that, like I said, I'm on a podcast by myself, so just being transparent. When I moved to LA, man, in 2015, it was like, I think September, October 2015. The reason I moved to LA was for music, but also at the time, my dad was living in LA, and he still does, and he had his own apartment. And my parents were married, but they were living separately because my dad had started a new job and all that. They ended up getting divorced, but whatever. So I was living, if you listen to season 1, you know that, and I've talked about that in kind of detail. He had his own apartment. And he was like, Junior, you can come stay with me. I was like, okay, cool. And like, I don't like living with people, especially family members. But, you know, moving to LA is expensive. I moved across country. At the time, like, all I had was my girl, but I didn't have like no kids. I didn't have nothing like that. I said, if I'm gonna do it, and I just turned 30. Any man that has turned 30, you know, like what that means and how that feels. And so for me, it was like, okay, I just turned 30. This is going to be something that I have to do now, or it's never going to happen ever. And so I did it and I moved. And after being there for about 2 months, me and my dad we weren't seeing eye to eye, and we got into it, like huge blow up, like massively. I was like, man, fuck this, I'm out. And when I moved there, I told myself that I was going to drive Uber. But when I got to LA, California Uber laws were different from Indiana Uber laws. So like you had to have like a California license, you had to have it in the California insurance and California plates. And then they start fucking up shit on my license and stuff. So long story short, it took me about 2 months to get myself on my feet where I can make some consistent money. And so once I finally got myself on my feet to make consistent money, that's when me and my dad got into it and I got the fuck out. So I had nowhere to live. I was in LA, I was homeless, I was living in my car. And fortunately for me, the last job I had when I left Indiana and moved to LA, I had contribute to my 401k. And this is something that a lot of people need to really pay attention to. If you got a 401k right now, you need to contribute to that shit. Whatever they're matching, you need to match that. I wouldn't suggest giving more than that unless you can afford it, but definitely you need to give what they're matching, because when you leave that job, most people don't get severance packages when they leave. They don't get a golden parachute. And even though a 401k is not a severance or a golden parachute, it is money that you have where if something pops off, you can use it. And there's a penalty if you take the money out, but still, like, there's money you can have. And for me, it was fucking huge, right? Like, I had that 401k, and I only had been at that job for like 11 months, but I had like $3,000 or $4,000 in the 401k. And they sent me a letter. Even though I was homeless, like, I still would go by and check the mail and shit in my dad's crib because I had changed my address, but I needed my shit. And so they sent a letter, and they were like, do you want this money? I was like, hell yeah, I want this fucking money. Are you crazy? Like, I ain't got shit. And so I took that money and I used that as the money to pay for a deposit on an apartment in Thousand Oaks. And then after that, I went back to Indiana and I got my girl, right? Because I don't do the long distance shit. Like, I'm over that. So I told her, I said, if we're going to be together, you have to move here. And she did it. We'd only been together at that time. We met March 7th. And we started dating March 24th. And I was December, just April to December. Was that 8 months-ish? That's how long we've been together. And she moved cross country for me into an apartment she had never seen. We had no furniture. All we had was like our clothes and suitcases and shit. Her and I, we slept on the floor together for 2 months because we would get on our feet like before we could get a bed and shit. 2 months. Like, what kind of woman sleeps on the floor with you? A woman that fucking believes in you. A fucking goddess. That's who sleeps on the floor with you. So I can never, ever, ever turn my back on her. And I can never, ever not believe in her dreams and what she has going on. I'm going to run my own ad for my own company at group82music.com. Y'all should know what we do by now. But if you don't, I don't want to be arrogant because you might be a first-time listener. And what we do is we help you build websites. We actually build websites for you. We build logos. We do cover arts. Whatever type of business or type of brand that you have, we really, really help get your music out there. Or we really, really help get your brand and your company out there. And so one thing that I really, really focused on when I first built my company was the fact that I wanted to only talk about things that I knew how to do. And there's a lot of companies out here that say they can help you do this and help you do that. But if you look at their social media, or if you look at their Spotify streams, or if you look at their website, you look at their logo, it's absolutely trash. It's terrible. And that's not how we are at group82music.com. We only talk about the things that we've actually done and that we know how to do. And I feel like the most important service that we have is the one-on-one coaching session with me. A lot of y'all hit me up and you want to get coaching from me. You want to get mentorship from me. You want me to give you advice on your brand. And that's exactly what we do in the one-on-one coaching session. We do a full digital brand analysis of your SEO, of your Instagram, of your Facebook, of your YouTube, of your Twitter. If you're making music, of your Spotify, or whatever your other business might be. If you're real estate, you're a chef, you're a fitness, we look at your niche market and we give you a step-by-step plan where you will be able to make money and be profitable within the next 12 months. So if that's something that you're interested in and you want to get it, go to group82music.com. Purchase one of the one-on-one coaching sessions with me while it's on sale. If you need all the other services in addition to the one-on-one coaching session, like I just talked about, then go and purchase one of our packages for 60% off today. I'm out the pond. Y'all stay true. So I just recorded that ad podcast by myself, solo cast, and I recorded an ad for group82music.com. And in the midst of recording that ad, I started thinking about some of the things that I want to talk about in this next section of this episode. And one thing in particular is these companies out here that say that they can do stuff for you when they haven't done it them fucking selves. And this is something that really pisses me off because we live in this culture now where everybody thinks they're a guru and an expert. And listen, ain't nothing wrong with that. I think I'm a guru and I'm an expert on a lot of stuff. Like I think I'm a Spotify expert. I think I'm a music business expert. I'm becoming a marketing and an advertising agency expert. And I'm definitely somebody who knows how to build a business from scratch. So I am an expert on that. But you don't see me being a venture capitalist expert. Or we actually got an email today from a client, well, a potential client, who was saying that, hey, man, I really want to chart on the Billboard this upcoming year. I would love to sit down with you and your team to develop a plan on how I can chart on Billboard this year. And so when I was listening to that, when I read that email, I was like, damn, like, that's what's up. I'm glad he views us in that light where we can be able to develop a plan for him where he can chart on Billboard. But my mind immediately went to the fact that I've never charted on Billboard. And since I've never charted on Billboard, I'm not going to tell you how to chart on Billboard. And that's exactly what we wrote back to him via email. And we could have probably hit his ass over the head. We probably could have taxed him on websites and on promotion, all types of shit. Probably that sale probably would have been $1,500, $2,000. But I got integrity. I got morals. And I keep it real. Like, if I ain't never done no shit, I'm not about to sit here and act like that I know how to do shit. And there's a lot of companies out here that claim they know how to do things that they really don't know how to do. And they've never done it. They've never, ever done it. I mean, there's social media marketing agencies out here, and you go to their Instagram and they ain't posted in 10 months. How the fuck are you a social media marketing agency and you ain't posted in 10 months? How does that make any sense to anybody? It doesn't. You got these music companies, these music marketing companies. They said they've helped this artist, they've helped that artist. Where are these artists at? What they doing? And if on top of all of that, if you're not an artist, if you're not a producer, if you're not in the studio, if you're not a creator making music, how in the fuck can you help somebody with their music, man? You ain't nothing but a record label. That's exactly how the record labels have been screwing over artists for all these years. That's all you are. You ain't nothing but a record label, a fake ass record label. Y'all got to stop listening to people that haven't been where you want to be. It is 2020. And I know, and I hate dating episodes because people are going to be listening to this in 2150. But it's 2020. Anybody can do anything. If they claim to be an expert, there should be some sort of track record on it. Would you go to your doctor for legal advice? Do you ask your dentist which stocks that he picks and invest your life savings into that? Are you asking your social studies teacher how to become a professional basketball player? So why the fuck do you listen to these people that say that they've done this shit and they haven't? You got to cut that shit out, man, because you are lining the pockets of people who are getting positively reinforced that their bullshit is okay. And it's not okay. That shit is not cool, man, at all. And it happens rapidly, especially in the music industry. Like, we've had to deal with it. The biggest hurdle and obstacle that we've dealt with at group82music.com is the fact that people think that we're scamming them. That's the biggest hurdle that we fucking dealt with. And the reason people think that we're scamming them is because they're used to being fucking scammed. You know how you don't get scammed? You go do fucking research. You read. You look shit up. You run metrics and you talk to 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 companies before you come to a decision on what you should be investing your money in. I know it got good ads. I know I have good Instagram posts. I know when you go to Dorian Group 82 on IG that shit can be convincing. I know that I can be a good salesman. Like, since I've been on this podcast, I've just been keeping it 100, just being real. And when I'm selling, I'm being real too. But y'all know when I'm selling, and I'm in selling mode, and when I'm in just conversational mode. But I know when I get in salesman mode, there ain't too many people that are better than me. And there ain't nobody that's better than me in this music business shit that does that. But you still should be doing your research. You still should be an educated consumer. And in 2020, there's no reason you shouldn't be an educated consumer. If you're an educated consumer, nobody can scam you. And when you're an educated consumer and you go and look at everything we've done at Group 82, run the metrics on it, you will see we're not scamming either. But that's been the biggest hurdle because people don't want to educate themselves. They want to just throw money at a problem. And then because they haven't educated themselves, they haven't understood that their music isn't streamable. Not saying that they couldn't be uploaded to Spotify, but there are certain songs that work on Spotify, certain songs that don't. They don't understand the traditional record sound. They don't understand that their image and their brand is up to par. They don't understand that any of the traffic that they do get from the services that they use with us, they're not trapping it because they're not building a website or having us build a website for them. right? They're not Facebook pixelating the website. They don't have an email list. They aren't giving away some sort of freebie to collect the email list. They aren't retargeting and getting the message out to the people every single week. They don't know the KPIs, the key performance indicators of their business. And therefore, when something doesn't go right, they want to fucking blame us. Because that's what they spent their money with. And they say that they got scammed. You didn't get scammed. You're fucking uneducated. And on top of all that, this is marketing. Marketing is taking a fucking risk. Just like going to college is taking a risk. If you go to college and you get a degree and you don't get a job offer, do you say to your school, y'all scammed me? Is that what you tell them? So why the fuck would you say that shit to us? It's not up to the college if you get a job or not. It's up to them to give you the education, which most of these fucking colleges don't do. Y'all been following me for a while. Y'all know how I feel about college. It's the same thing in business. When you run some sort of marketing service, it's risky. And I'll keep it even more real. Everything in business, when you do something in business, there's a 70% chance that shit ain't gonna work. I don't give a fuck what it is. I don't care how many times it worked for you before. Anything that you do in business, there's a much higher chance than anything else in life that is not gonna work. Like business, the only sport that business is really comparable to, in my personal opinion, is baseball. Because in baseball, if you get a hit 3 times out of 10, you go into the Hall of Fame. That means if you fail 70% of the time, you go into the Hall of Fame. That's just not realistic in anything else in the world. If you fail 70% of the time in school, I mean, no offense, but they're going to think you fucking retarded. Like, nigga, you were definitely getting held back. And you will be riding a short bus until you 25 years old, coming to 9th grade. Business is not a game at all. And a lot of y'all are doing shit and you shouldn't be doing it. Like, if you think throwing your money towards a Spotify playlist is going to get you fans and have you rich, you're a fucking idiot. Like, if you watch this on YouTube right now, like, you can see the plaque behind me. 1 million streams on Don't Sleep. Like, I was extremely happy when I got that. I was extremely happy when I passed the 1 million stream mark on Don't Sleep. 1 million streams is $4,000. 4 G's. I was living in LA when I got that plaque, so you can do the math, right? 2-bedroom apartment, $2,500. Drive a Benz, that's $500 a month. You got the insurance on that. You got groceries. You got a girlfriend. You got parents. You got a kid. You got clothes. You got gas. You got Uber. Nigga might drink a little bit. Nigga might smoke a little bit. That money was gone a month. 1 million streams, money gone a month. Anybody that's watched the Kevin Hart Netflix documentary, Kevin has talked about this numerous times that he wants to be a billionaire. Like, it's something that's really big to him. Like, he wants to be a billionaire. And he has talked about, like, he's not going to be a billionaire just doing stand-up in movies. And this is a man that is selling out arenas, stadiums. I mean, he sold out the fucking Eagles Stadium, the Philadelphia Eagles Stadium, for one of his stand-up concerts. Like, this man is moving units. Like, if he was a musician, like, I mean, he would be in a conversation of, like, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Drake. I mean, he would be a bigger box office draw than J. Cole if he was in music. And when you look at, like, because these promotion companies or booking agencies, they don't give a fuck what industry you're in. Like, everybody has the same metrics. When you look at his metrics, if I'm not mistaken, Kevin Hart is in the top 10, like, of everybody when it comes to box office draw. And so this is somebody who's even saying that, like, who has that type of platform, that type of following, is even saying that I need to do more than just the shit I'm doing right now to be a billionaire. You got to have that same mentality when it comes to your business, or have that same mentality when it comes to your job. You have to be doing more than just showing up every day if you want to make $100,000 a year. You got to be doing more than just putting your music on Spotify playlists if you want to be doing this shit full time, which is why we offer all those services. Like, when I started Group 82 Music, man, I really just wanted to be like considered like a Spotify expert at the time because nobody really knew about Spotify, but I knew it very, very well. I would even talk to people in the industry, like people who did this shit full time, and I would ask them questions about Spotify, like, and you could tell it was kind of like a lot of y'all that are listening to this right now are probably really into basketball, or you understand basketball, right? One team has the ball, the other team is guarding them. The goal is to get the ball in the basket. If you foul them, they go to free throw lines, 1 point. Any other shot inside of the 3-point line is 2 points. Outside of the 3-point line, which is why it's called 3-point line, it's 3 points, right? You pretty much understand the concept of basketball. Whoever has the most points at the end wins the game. But if I talk to you about flare screens or why you should go under or a zipper cut or an Iverson cut or shading them to the left or some shit like that. Like most of y'all didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. But if I was having a basketball conversation with somebody who works in basketball, everything I just said was almost like some really simple terms that they should know. It was the same thing I was seeing in music. Like I'm having these conversations about Spotify and I'm using these terms and things that are obvious if you understand Spotify. These people that work in the industry, I'm talking like they make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year at record labels. And they had no idea what the fuck I was talking about. Like not on some like, nigga, that's some outdated shit, but like on some, huh? Like I was teaching them. And that kept happening. And I would talk to other independent artists, like people that are really, really pushing being independent artists. They're selling books and all this stuff. I'm having conversations with them. They didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. So I was like, shit, nobody really knows Spotify the way I do. Like I'm one of the few people, especially on the artist side, that truly understands Spotify like this. I'm gonna just be a fucking Spotify expert. But as I started developing the menu of services at Group A2, I was like, we just can't offer Spotify services. Like we just can't do that. It locks us into just Spotify. So at any given moment, if Spotify changes something drastically, our business is fucked. And number two, there's more to it than that. Like I didn't just get 1 million streams on Spotify from playlists. Like I had a website, I had a logo, I had a Wikipedia page, I had social media continuity. Like there was a lot of other things behind the scenes that got me to 1 million streams, which is why I put all that stuff inside the ebook. And that's how you have to think about anything that you do. Like whatever goal that you have, there's a lot of variables and factors that come into you making that goal or reaching that goal, right? Like those of you who are kind of on a mission I am on this year, like I'm fasting right now. And by fast, I mean no meat, no fried food, no alcohol. So over the next 3 months, you're going to like see it different. I'm going to look way different in April than I do right now. But like, and it happens every year. The past 2 years, I haven't been really sticking to it. But this year, I'm really excited about it. But it takes more than not eating bad shit to look the way you want to look. Like you should probably work out too, right? And not only that, like you cannot eat bad food and work out. But if you are having a lot of stress, that can add to your body looking bad or your face looking bad too. You know what I mean? So there's always a lot of factors in anything that you want to do. It's not just one thing. And I think too many people think that it's just this one fucking thing, right? And that's why when they do that one thing and it doesn't work out, they want to blame somebody. You can't blame the lottery people because you spent all your fucking paycheck on one lottery ticket and this shit didn't hit. Like, my nigga, you should have, instead of spending $1,000 on a lottery ticket, you should have spent $10. You should have put $100 into a Roth IRA that you should be contributing to every month anyway. Then you should look into like S&P 500 index funds, and then you should have went and bought some stocks. And then if you got a homeboy that's selling weed, you should probably gave him some money to work the streets. And then you might have could have went to the casino, nigga, and played blackjack. Like you could have diversified at $1,000 and increased your likelihood of you getting a return as opposed to you just focusing on that one thing, which was the lottery. And now your $1,000, you got your ass wiped. It's life. It's everything in life. Everything in life needs to be done in moderation, and everything in life needs to be diversified. That's why when people talk about like with social issues as far as diversity being a bad thing or not accepting people in their differences, it's like that's the foundation of life, man, is diversity, diversifying. Like, you don't like black people, you don't like gay people, you don't like Hispanic people, you got a problem with transgender, you got a problem with atheists, you got like, what's wrong with you? Like, why does that shit bother you that much? Diversity is a part of our being. Like, our feet don't do the same thing that our brain does. Our balls don't do the same thing that our lungs do. I mean, I guess they both kind of like can breathe life into a motherfucker. But like, is even as a human being, our body is diverse. So why would you not think that the world wouldn't be diverse? Like, our bodies are microcosms for society. Literally everything. And yet people want things to be one way all the time. It's just pure unadulterated ignorance. And it's the reason that a lot of people are unhappy. It's the reason that religion is as popular as it is. Because people think that my religion is the right religion. What I'm being taught is the right thing of being taught. And anybody else who's being taught different is wrong. And it's groupthink. And it reinforces bullshit. But that's why it's super popular. That's why these pastors have the control that they do. It's why school is the way it is. It's why the lottery wins all the time. It's why casinos win all the time. It's just people think that things have to be one way. There's only one route to success. And if I focus on that one route to success and reject all the other routes, then I'm going to get what they told me that I'm going to get. That's just not true. Like, I know y'all have seen that it's not a doodle, but it's like I don't want to say a meme. It's like a image, I guess, where it's like a straight line. Let's say it's going diagonal. It's like, this is your route to success. And it's just like diagonal. Well, this is what people think success is, just like a diagonal line going up. But this is what success really is. They got the lines going all over the place and shit. Like, nothing's more true. Nothing's more true. Like, if you'd have told me when I started making music in 2014 that I would be up at 5 o'clock in the morning recording a podcast on a camera and on the same software that I used to make music, so I can divide it up into micro content and push it on all of my social media platforms so we can continue to generate buzz for my company that I own, an LLC, in addition to build my personal brand. I'd have been like, that doesn't even make any fucking sense. What are you talking about? Who gives a fuck about brand? But because I was open-minded and I kept reading and understanding that music's not going to be the end-all be-all, even though I love making music, I just can't keep leaning on that. I knew eventually that I was going to get to the point where it's like, okay, I got to find other ways to diversify myself and my business. I got to find ways to diversify my ambitions, which a lot of y'all don't want to do, which I don't fucking get it. I don't get it. And then you wonder why you're not happy. That's why when I was single too, like, I didn't monopolize myself to one woman. I'm just not. Doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, I'm single. The fuck? Like, I'm going to have sex with as many women as I want to. Like, and not in a disrespectful way. Like, I was very open and honest and transparent, but I was like, I'm not about to act like I'm in a relationship and I'm not. And there's a lot of y'all out here right now that are listening to this that are acting like you're in relationships and you're not. Especially for a lot of my women listeners, like, stop letting that man treat you like his girl when he don't want to commit to you. Stop letting that man treat you like his wife when he don't want to commit to you. Like, fuck all that. I mean, diversify yourself. That's the best part about being single, is the fact that you get to diversify yourself. You get to learn about other people. That is such an underrated aspect of being single. You get to learn about other people, get to hear their stories, their strengths, their weaknesses. What made them good at this? What made them bad at that? Get to hear about what their parents did, what their grandparents did, what their uncles did. Or they would talk to you about what their friends did or their cousins. You get other people's perspectives, man. That's why I call the podcast 82 Points of View. You get other people's points of view. And that shit is just, that it helps you so much. Like, as a dad now, like, the way that I parent now, that I'm 35, even though my daughter is 7 months, if I would have had her when I was 25, those first 10 years, these past 10 years would have been a wash. Like, I parent totally different than I would have parented at 25 because I learned so much from other people because I was open. I was diversifying myself. I was listening to other people's points of view. And it made me a lot more receptive to people's actions because the only thing that needs to be constant is humanity and integrity and morality. Everything else is pretty much up for debate. If you understand the value of humanity, if you have integrity, you have morals, everything else is just plug and play for how you feel at that moment or what your preferences are. That's it. And so for me, it was like at that time at 25, I was like, okay, like I need somebody sent to the church, right? Like I need somebody that's also like a freak. I need somebody that can cook. I need somebody that can clean. I need somebody that like has a master's degree, and I need somebody that like comes from a 2-parent home. I need somebody that knows how to dress. I need somebody that like gets her hair done and her nails done and takes care of herself and ain't big on makeup but don't like weave but can do shit on her own. Like I needed all this shit. And as I got older, I'm like, listen, nigga, like, does she have good morals? Like, would you trust her with your life? Is she a person of integrity? Like, can anybody buy her loyalty away from you? And does she appreciate and respect the value of human beings? Everything else is just personal preference. And I just kind of just scaled it back. And like I said, I've talked about it before on this episode, but like I couldn't have picked a better person to be the mother of my child. Couldn't have. And I tell her that consistently. Like, such a blessing. Like I couldn't have picked anyone better to be Nova's mom at all. And somebody who I love. I'm in a relationship with. You know what I mean? So these are the things that happen when you diversify yourself, man. You really start learning about who you are. It's almost like a super selfish thing. Like you diversifying yourself and hearing other people's stories and being open and giving them something is going to help you grow in the process. It's like my same mentality that I take towards social media. Like I create content, I give. So when I ask y'all to buy, you buy. Like I'm very open about this transaction. This is a transactional relationship. But the transaction is giving y'all value consistently. It's genuine value. I'm giving you a piece of me all the time. Every video that I put out is a piece of me. Like I don't write this shit down like that. I might have some ideas, but I don't write this shit down. Like I've done this whole episode. This episode is going to be almost an hour. I didn't write any of this down. This is just off the cuff how I feel. And I'm giving y'all value. So when you do need a logo, a website, Facebook Pixelated, all these services we're about to start rolling out this year, like, yo, I fuck with Dorian because he's giving me so much. Same with me, right? Like it's the reason I love Nike. Like everybody else loves Nike and got bought into Nike because of Jordan and Ken Griffey Jr. and Just Do It and Barkley. I love Nike because my uncle, rest in peace, Uncle Rec, when I was younger, this is in the 90s, I was the only boy in our family, like in our immediate family. It was my grandmother, had my 2 aunts, had my dad and my uncle. So they were the men. And then I had, like in the birth order of my grandmother's grandkids, it was my cousin Janika, my sister Tamika, my cousin Kanja, then me, and then Sherelle, then Brittany, then Jerusha, rest in peace. And then it kind of stopped for a little bit. And so at that time, I was the only boy. And my uncle worked for Nike. This is the 90s. And every month, they would let him go into the factory for I think 45 minutes or something and grab whatever the fuck he wanted. Yo, I got so much Nike shit. Like, my whole everything was Nike because I was the only boy. So, and at the time, they weren't really making women's clothes like that. So it's just like, he would get stuff for everybody else, but I was the only boy. So I had shoes, I had socks, wristbands, shorts, shirts, I had everything Nike. And then once Uncle Rec left the company, because that had happened in my childhood, Nike had me. Nike had given me so much value over the years for free that I've returned the favor. I've definitely paid and bought way more shit than they ever gave me for free. And even when I started coaching too, like every school that I coached at, Lees McRae, Montverde, VCU, Jacksonville, they all were Nike schools. So I got free Nike shit. The only program that I was involved with that wasn't Nike was Indy Hoosiers. That's where Chris Wilkes played. Mike Peterson, we got that Under Armour deal. That's the only place that I was a part of that was Under Armour, where I got free shit. But going back to that, like Nike gave me so much value that now when I see shit, the Jordan and the Nike just looks better to me. And I'd rather buy that over anything else. It's the same thing I'm creating with my brand. Like I talked about a little bit earlier, like when I was 25, I wouldn't have gave a fuck about a brand. Now I do. Branding is very important. I give y'all value. I want to continue to give y'all value because I know that I'm going to need y'all to return the favor, whether it's buying an album, whether it's coming to a concert, whether it's showing up to a meet and greet, whether it's buying merch, whether it's some political statement or something I'm trying to be a part of and I need y'all support, whether it's movies or television or who knows, I might run for president one day. Like you never know, but that's why it's important to give. All of y'all out there trying to figure out what's the secret sauce to marketing, what value are you giving to your audience? You know your audience better than anybody. Like right now, like if you're a real estate agent, right? Who's your target demo? People that want to buy houses. People that want to buy houses. You should know the top 5 objections people have to buying a house. First of all, most people do not understand the house buying process. So you should be making content about the house buying process. Most people do not have the money to save it for a down payment. You should be making videos and social media content about what you can do as an alternative to the down payment or how much they actually need for the type of house that they can buy. Most people don't understand like the maintenance costs and the insurance, and that shit scares them, right? You need to make videos about that. Like, you know your industry better than anybody. You should know your customers better than anybody. You know their objections. You know their fears. You know their insecurities. So you need to be making content that alleviates that. And you need to be giving that content away for free. And when you do that, that makes you someone that they trust in that industry, and now they want to rock with you. This shit is not rocket science. Most of y'all are just too goddamn scared to do it because y'all scared to be judged on camera because you think you're too fat, right? I'm fat right now. I ain't gonna be fat in 6 months. But I mean, I'm not like fat, but I'm like strong, big nigga fat. So it's just like I'm still attractive. I'm just big nigga. But y'all think about that. Or you think about like your hair, or you think about like your skin, or you think about your clothes, or you think about the lighting or the camera or the audio or the, man, just do that shit, man. That was the first video I posted this year was just do shit. Just do shit. Just fucking do shit, bro. Sis, however you would like to be identified, just do shit. Stop overthinking it. That's all marketing is. Nothing is going to be perfect, man. Nothing. You just have to start putting that shit out there. And I'm telling you this from experience. The audience does not care about your quality of your video content or your audio content as much as you do. They just don't give a fuck. The only time that they care about that shit if it's music or if it's a movie. But when it comes to you giving a message, when it comes to you marketing a brand or a business, they don't really care about that. As long as you are being you, the message is accurate, and you are hitting on those objections, those insecurities, that's all they care about. I want y'all to do them in your favor. This is going to be the last thing I talk about. But I want y'all to do me this favor. I want y'all to go to my Instagram. And I want you to scroll all the way down. I want you to look at the very first video that I did as far as giving value and giving content. It's not going to be like the pictures at my homeboys' weddings and all this. It's above that. It's a video that I did. It's entitled "Stop Doing Shows for Free." And I want you to look at the quality, quote unquote. I need to put the air quotes up because I forgot we're on TV right now. We're on YouTube. I want you to look at the quality of that video. I want you to look and listen to the sound of that video, right? I want you to look at the editing style of that video and look at the stuff that we've created since then and look at how different it was. And then I want you to look at the number of views and comments on that video. If that's not a lesson that you just need to do shit, I don't know what is. I'm out the pod. Y'all stay true.
Group82music.com.